I'm a bird photographer. Yeah, this is what I was traveling with back in the days when I was taking pictures of birds. This is so far from me now. I stopped doing that a long time ago, but these are some of the pictures that I did. Yep, things have changed so much since then, but I kept the lens. But on this trip here in Atacama, I failed to use it because we didn't find the right locations. And tonight is the last night shooting here, and we decided to shoot only with this lens, light painting. Talking about birds. Okay. But why I'm still traveling with that huge lens? For giant sunsets. To create pictures like this one, and also this one when I add a 2x extender. We'll try to do a few of those tonight, but for the first time I want to explore with light painting at 400mm. The longest lens I used is the 85mm, which is a lot compared to my usual lens. I usually shoot somewhere between 14mm and 35. So 400 is quite a huge difference. But we'll have a few challenges tonight. 6 challenges!
Number one,
it's gonna be very cold tonight, about 5 degrees Celsius, so it's gonna make everything harder. It's gonna make her shake a little bit. maybe not, yeah. We'll see. Number 2,
the clouds.
So if we have clouds in our way, it's gonna be less interesting for the stars. We might see stars through the clouds, but my main goal is really to get giant stars behind Kim. Number 3, the wind. As you probably know, using a long telephoto lens, if you're doing a long exposure, it's going to be way more blurry. So I hope there's not going to be any wind. If it's just a little bit shaky, then it's going to make all of our images very blurry. Number 4,
the composition.
Well, as the camera is going to be very far from Kim, it's going to be hard to align everything correctly. Like usually, I know it's hard with the sun because there's only one sun. With the stars, it should be a bit less of a problem. We'll see, it's the first time, so I don't know.
Yeah. Number 5, the distance between the camera and us.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about that. When we're doing giant sunsets, I stay behind the camera and we're very far from each other. Sometimes we use walkie-talkies. But as I have to go from the camera to behind Kim, it's gonna be a long way.
Yeah,
so,
and it's probably gonna be like some up and down, some rock formations to get there.
So I need to go back behind the camera, mostly to change the settings and change the composition. I hope the composition is going to be right. So about the settings, I have the app on my cell phone. If it's still working 200 meters away from the cameras, then I'll be able to do the review and to change the settings. That's good.
Yeah.
We'll try that.
So it's going to be a first time for us trying that new technology.
Yeah, it's been suggested to us a few times to use the app to avoid running back and forth, but I don't know. That's something I like to run and.
Yeah, and usually you change the composition quite a few times.
Yeah.
Also, number 6. the low amount of light that will get into the lens.
I've been shooting mostly at f1.4 on this trip to get the stars, and now what, 5.6? I'm shooting at f5.6 tonight. That's gonna be hard, so I have to push my ISO to the extreme, which would be like a million, or I don't know, and to do a much longer exposure. So I go probably at 30 seconds for the exposure to get the stars, but I'm going to do the light for about only 2 seconds, and then I'm going to turn it off. So I trigger the camera, I do the light for 2 seconds, turn off the light, and let the exposure keep running for 28 seconds, and hope it's fine.
Yeah, so that's going to be a challenge for me, because that means I'll have to stay as still as I possibly can for 30 seconds.
Yeah. I'll add more details just in case you're new to photography and this f-stops and exposure, like what is this thing, like when we're shooting at f1.4, there's a lot of light that comes in the camera through the lens, and that's making everything easier. Like we really see the Milky Way in the shot. When you step down, you go to f5.6, you have way less light, and that's usually the case with a long telephoto lens. And my 400 millimeters is limited at f5.6. So to balance, I do longer exposure, which is going to add more star trails, especially using a long telephoto lens. So, but I'm fine with star trails, and maybe we'll even do a longer exposure and I'll do a composite, so you won't have to stay there and freeze. You like that answer? Take the mic. Okay, that is so bumpy. The 4 reasons why we're doing this here in the Atacama Desert. So the first one is because it's the clearest sky we've ever seen.
Okay, because we'll be once again in the middle of nowhere, or almost. There won't be any risk of letting the camera 200 meters or more away from us. It's not risky of getting it stolen or stuff like that. And last but not least,
I brought this huge lens on this trip and I haven't used it yet, so it's our last night and I want to do something with it.
Eric doesn't like useless weight in his luggages, so we have to find a reason why we brought it.
That's well said. Cut! Cut! Wow, c'est bon. Okay, another circle in 3, 2, 1. So we're currently testing the settings. And some stars are visible. Congratulations, Kim. Okay. So it's working, kind of. I mean, like, it's not beautiful, but I'm starting to see some stars. It's still quite bright. Like, you cannot see that on camera, but like, it's not totally night yet. I see only like 3 or 4 stars in the framing. So far we tested with the app. It's a bit too far. It's like super slow, and I don't like working with a cell phone with light painting, so I might just abandon that and keep running back and forth. We'll see later. Attends, ce que j'entends? Okay? Yeah. Is it the worst one?
I don't know.
So my car was on the path, but there was no one here. Like, even during the day, there's no one. We're really like by ourselves. And I've been really lucky because at some point I was changing the framing a little bit. So I was with the camera. And then I started to hear something. I said, like, that must be a plane. Like, we cannot have a car here. That it was like 10 p.m. something, and keep coming closer. So I took everything, and then there's a car that came, and I got so like my heart was starting. Wow! Next morning, it was cold. We slept probably at minus 10 degrees Celsius. When we woke up this morning, the water was inside. Everything was solid frozen. It was so cold.
Yeah, it was.
So I think it was our coldest night, and that's the night where we shot at 400 millimeters.
Yeah, the most complicated, technically
Yeah,
speaking, shoot.
yeah, the most complicated outdoors light painting shoot ever. I was about 70 meters from Kim during these shots. Yesterday we listed the challenges. It was pretty much accurate. The one thing that we didn't talk about yesterday is the composition. The framing in the dark where you don't see anything, because at 400 millimeters it's just pitch black. The only thing I was able to see is the tube. So I had to keep testing shots, and every time it was at least 6 seconds just to to change a little bit my framing. I moved a lot yesterday, but like it was taking time, and Kim was there freezing.
We were not on a flat plane. It was like hills and rock formations and mountains and stuff like that. So a lot of things to consider when you do the composition, but then you don't see them.
Like Kim was there, and I was like testing around, but she was not high enough. I couldn't go low enough, and then she had mountains behind her, so I couldn't see the stars.
Yeah, so we had to change,
Yeah.
change spot.
We had 3 main different compositions yesterday. First one was kind of a surprise. We had the mountains in the background. There were not stars behind Kim. And I decided to do some star trails because of that, and I think that's creating kind of a beautiful image. And this is where I was the most further away from Kim. After this one, I found another place where I saw a couple of stars, but it was not like, it was a dark place in the sky with a few stars. It was great. But then the last composition, after struggling a lot, I asked her to go back on the first hill where we shot to, and I went on the other side, and I was in the road, like in the path, and I was able to align with the Milky Way. And that was amazing. Like this place, like I really had like a lot of stars in the background. But then, like shooting at 400 millimeters, we had star trails coming up like after 6 seconds. So I tried to limit myself to 600. That was like, I couldn't push any further than this. I was at ISO 300,000 something. Like I never shot with that kind of ISO before. So my pictures are quite noisy, but I really pushed to the extreme to get that shot without too much movement of the star trails. I also tested at 30 seconds. Here is an example. I just decided to stop because we've been shooting for nearly 3 hours.
Yeah, and it was cold.
I couldn't feel my right feet, and like on your case, it was like...
Yeah. This is the shoot where we got less pictures done.
Yeah.
Because it was so long. Like, well, it was complicated to like figure out, and sometimes in between each picture, just to make sure like you would go back, and it was quite a run. Because Eric quickly dropped the idea of using the phone. It was not as efficient as we wanted it to be at the moment, I guess.
Anyway, at some point in the beginning, I had like my phone to control the settings, the walkie-talkie to talk with Kim, the trigger for the camera, the flashlight, just too many things. And when I was that far, like the connection keeps dropping. So
And it would change your settings.
yeah, there was something about that too. Like the app was reverting the settings I was using on the camera, so that was a bit frustrating.
We were pretty lucky, as we said. Like wind would be a hard factor to work with, but there was barely no wind for the whole shoot, so that was actually making it possible for me to hear the trigger, which was pretty impressive because it was quite far, but it was so silent. Like we could hear nothing, and then like the little click. So that was good.
And I kept the flashlight on near the camera, pointing in the other direction, so we could know where it was for the alignment. But also when I was running back to the camera, it was easy just to find it back, because like this place is huge.
It was just pitch black and like hills and rocks and stuff.
Dinner was great.
Oh yeah, that was amazing.
Pasta with red wine.
That was amazing.
Like I was using the wine too.
In the past.
In the pasta, wow.
But now that we've done it, what do you think about it? Are you happy about, like, because the main thing was to try, right? We wanted to like see what it could be like and how it would like.
Yeah, this is how I manage my life, I think. And this is how I made Lightspin, the first project with you, which was like one of my biggest ever. I do things that like mostly experimental, and I'm not sure in the beginning, but when I really push, like I do it again and again, it starts to be something. So I don't know if we're going to do it again or not, but I'm really happy that we tried it because this is a totally different visual. Image are okay. It's not our best so far. But if we do it again, that might be with something else in the background. That could be the moon. Next challenge.
So yeah, it opens a new door.
Giant moon with light painting.